Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your bro Ghost here, and today we're going to be talking about the season 21 and 20. Cut that out. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your bro Ghost here, and today we're going to be talking about the season 21 ability tuning preview. So they added a whole bunch of stuff. They talked about the aspects and stuff. So let's get right into it because this is a long one. Okay, fragment budget review. Over the last year, we've consistently heard feedback that the single fragment slot aspects feel restrictive to the player ability crafting freedom. Fragment slots are a critical balancing lever that we intend to continue to use to control Aztec's potency, but we don't feel like any of the current single fragment slot aspects are overperforming to the point of restricting them to a single slot. And so, Season 21 will increase them. So literally every single one of them, every single slot aspect, I only give you one fragment slot, has been up to. Great. Super tuning. Long story short, increased PvE damage resistance for all supers in Season 21. Now, a whole bunch of people thought that this would include well. Yes, it will, but it's not what you think. It's only for the cast. So you know how even on like one-off supers and roaming supers, you get damage resistance all the time. That's why it's usually a little bit lower. And while one-shot super, like one-off supers like Well, Bubble, Nova Bomb, Missile Titan, is their damage resistance a little bit higher because it's just a one-time thing. So basically for Well specifically and Bubble, it's only going to be during the casting animation. So you will take less damage during the casting animation. So this is good. Good. Our initial subclass 3.0 conversation, we opted not to include subclass keywords integration, aka Jolt, Scorch, into most supers. But now that we've just settled, we're revisiting the idea. With Season 21, we're taking the past at the roster and adding intrinsic keywords behavior where the inclusion makes sense. Unlike existing interactions such as Arc Staff and Lethal Current, our Sentinel Shield, the Controlled Demolition, these will be baked into the super's base behavior. Nice. Okay, Golden Gun, 20% buff. Arc Staff, 20% buff. Spectral Blades, 35% buff. Heavy attacks now weakened. Fixed an issue that caused right-hand Spectral Blade attacks to fail to connect when attacking at maximum attack speed. Sorry about that. This is going to be live. We're going back to the live ones because I got to record 2 videos today because I was supposed to record this today thinking that the TWAB was going to be short, and now the next TWAB is 6,500 words. So you guys are getting 2 videos on this Friday. So you're getting 3 videos a week. Content creation. I'm happy though. I'm good the game's changing. But I got some stuff to say about this next TWAB. When building Gathering Storm for Arc 3.0, we intentionally required significantly higher player precision on the initial throw to separate its role from the combat from Nova Bomb. But the current iteration is too frequently fails to reward that precision in the Crucible, particularly versus Super's interaction. No, I'm just going to particularly versus Supers. To address this, we're making targeted adjustments to direct impact and delayed lightning strikes damage to increase the payoff for directly landing a staff on properly timing the lightning strikes and increasing the damage the Gathering Storm does against stationary defense supers. So for Gathering Storm, direct impact damage from players versus players 200, now 300. Delayed lightning strike damage versus players increases 300, 500. Nice. 300, 500. Lingering lightning ticks damage versus players from 40 to 60. Now deals increased damage to Well and Ward. Okay. Titan, let's see what they gave us. Fist of Havoc light attack reduced from 8 to 6. Nice. Heavy attack reduced from 18 to 12. Nice. So your heavy and light attack is going to use less of your super bar when using them. Great. Increased heavy attack speed to 33%. Nice. Heavy attacks now blind targets near the center of the slam area. This is good. Still don't think people are going to use it. Because Strand Titan is just so strong in PvE. It's so good. You can literally use it everywhere. While Glacial Quake's heavy slam is in a solid place and a strong damage output, the light attack doesn't offer enough reward to feel worthwhile in the current state. Okay. Increased Silver Strike thrust speed by 10%. Nice. Increased light attacks damage by 20%. Nice. Because the heavy attack is already good. You got the Snow Globe strat and stuff. So heavy attack is fine. Cool. For Sentinel Shield, Hammer Assault, and Burning Maul, we're happy that with the performance and given the additional utility. What additional utility does Burning Maul have? What additional utility Hammer Assault has? He took it away. Anywho, we're happy with the performance given the additional utility, but we feel that some more minor damage increases would significantly help their usability in certain situations where pure offense is needed. For the Burning Maul in particular, we're also making a small quality of life change in its interaction with the Soul Invictus aspect, allowing the heavy attack Cyclone to apply a small amount of Scorch. Sentinel Shield increased PvE damage. Nice. Hammer Soul increased PvE damage 10%. Hammer Soul does damage, but it's not a lot of damage. Like I said, freaking the base kit for Strand is just so strong. So if you're not on Strand or on Titan, if you're playing PvE, it's either Titan has 2 PvE classes. We've got 3. We've got Bubble, we've got Yeet, and now we've got Strand. That's everything else. I love Solar. I'm the last Hammer Titan in the world. I believe it. I love Solar. Solar is still my favorite on all classes, Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. But it's just not as strong as the other classes. It's getting power crept. Burning Maul, increased PvE damage by 10%. It should be more. It should be 20. Literally all of these should be 20. But like I said, don't get mad. I'd rather have Solar than nothing. That's fine. Who knows? Maybe I'm BSing and I'm completely whiffing. Because I haven't used Burning Maul in ages. I only use Hammer and Soul. Increased PvE damage by 10%. Now creates a sunspot on cast when Soul Invictus is equipped, matching the behavior of Hammer and Soul. Heavy attack Cyclone now applies Scorch. Now, I'm assuming they did 10% for this because these freaking eruptions deal dummy damage. So let's see. Warlock have generally a strong neutral game abilities are doing well within our expected performance band, but a number of their super options currently feel below the bar of the high level content. Okay. With Season 21, we're addressing some of these outliers on the low end and focusing primarily on Stormcaller and Voidwalker with a few quality of life fixes sprinkled throughout. For Voidwalker, we're increasing the PvE damage output of Nova Warp in both Nova Bomb variants. We're allowing Nova Warp to make targets volatile. Here we go. Nova Warp increased 15%. Nice. Fully charged attack now increased volatile. I think people are going to use this. I think people might actually switch to Nova Warp. Nova Bomb is actually still really strong, and they're buffing it now. Because now these days, people just love shooting their gun. I love shooting my gun. I love the abilities you can get from shooting your guns and everything with volatile rounds, Joe shot, freaking unraveling rounds. So I want to shoot. So I think I'm probably going to stick to Nova Bomb. Let's be honest here. No one's going to use any other class. And 2, I'm going to be 100% honest. I ain't even going to BS. These buffs are great until Star class gets nerfed. No Warlock is touching anything else. Until Star class gets nerfed, everyone's going to be using Star class. So, for people who don't know, Star class is Starfighter Protocol. And that's why you see every Warlock on well with throwing fusion grenades out, because it's just so strong. So that's why, until none of some of the stuff get changes, I doubt any of this is going to change. No matter how good these buffs are. Stormcaller. We don't believe either Stormtrance or Chaos Reach are excelling at the intended roles in the current landscape. Okay. So increased PvE damage 25% on Stormtrance. Damage ramp up will now occur in 3 seconds instead of 5. Landfall Detonation Seekers now jolt targets. Nice. Chaos Feast increased PvE damage by 25%. Sustained damage on a single target now creates a jolting lightning strike at the target's location. Nice. Increasing damage resistance versus players from 40 to 50%. Can you still get sniped out of it? I don't think so. Maybe not anymore. Increased maximum strafe speed from 3.5 meters to 4.5 meters. Nice. Adjusted super camera to avoid player body blocking the view of targets when strafing. Good. While we're happy to use Winter Wrath excelling as a crowd control tool, we're giving the small damage boost in PvE to increase the usability situation like boss damage phases. Yeah, because as good as crowd controller was with Stacy turrets everywhere and Ozymancy, the damage on that super was trash. So I'm glad they're buffing it. Daybreak, they're doing the same thing to the camera as Chaos Reach got. Nice. Strand updates. Here we go. For Hunter, let's read this thing. Let's talk about Strand, our newest damage type. We're still in the process of evaluating Strand's performance in the live game, and we expect that performance to continue to shift over the course of this year as new aspects are added in for each class. For now, we're making some adjustments to the base cooldown times and target improvements to pain points that we observed since Lightfall's launched. Hunter, it's your turn. Threaded Spike, that is the melee. Increased projectile range before returning to okay, so it goes out farther. The knife goes out farther before it comes back. Increased damage to PvE combatants by 55%. Nice. And slightly reduce the speed of the dart returns to the player to make it easier to catch. Nice. Increased energy gain from catching the dart based on the number of enemies hit. Now, if I hit like 4, 5, 3 or 4 people with my threaded dart, does that mean I get my whole charge back? And I catch it. You catch it, you get more. So if you catch it and you hit enemies, do I get it back? That'd be kind of cool. Let's see. Now, Piercing Cabal Phalanx Shield. This is cool, but people are going to shoot them. I don't think anyone's really going to use this, but it's a great activity to have. No longer prioritizes the catch action over the grapple melee if any enemy target is within the grapple melee range. Nice. I heard a lot of people complaining about that. People throwing out their knife before you grappled because it would just screw you over. So that's good. Frenzy Blade for Titan. Decrease the cooldown based on how many melee charges the player has stored. At 0 charges, the cooldown is reduced by 15%. At 2 charges, the cooldown is reduced by 30%. Now we get more melees. Good, good, good. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with melee because if you're killing people with that suspended, you're going to get your melee back anyway. But like I said, buff is a buff. Doesn't matter. Don't complain. Warlock. Arcane Needle. Decrease the cooldown based on how many melee charges player has stored. At 0 charges, increase by 15. 2 is 30. Same as Titan, basically. Increase projectile speed on the projectile's flight time. Nice. Initial velocity increased to 40 meters per second, up from 30. Final velocity increased from 70 meters, up from 60. Increase projectile tracking strength by 10%. Grapple. Reduce the base cooldown from 105 seconds to 82 seconds. Nice. Love to be more. I can be more like Spider-Man from Lionel Hunter. Reduce the minimum time between grapple activations from 2.5 to 0.2 seconds. Thread of Generation. This is the one fragment that literally everybody has on. I'm not surprised they're going to get nerfed. So reduce the generation provided from some damage over time mechanics. Reduce the generation provided from trace rifles. Okay. So it's not a big nerf. You just get these certain weapons give less. Hunter, Withering Blade. Increase the projectile tracking search range on bounced versus players by 20%. Increase maximum tracking strength by 12.5%. Shiver Strike on Titan. Maximum thrust while in flight increased by 16%. Decrease the maximum downward influence of gravity while in flight by 18%. Howl of the Storm. That is the aspect that when you slide and press melee, you throw an ice thing up. Increase the width of Frozen Cone versus players by 31%. I thought this was pretty easy to hit. Like it's pretty easy. If you was, I don't know. I mean, hey, a buff is a buff. I ain't gonna complain. But this is pretty easy to hit if you know how to aim it. Frost Pulse now provides 2 additional meters of melee lunge after activation for 1.2 seconds. Great. Like we need more melee lunge in this game. But hey man, W. Freaking Warlock, Stasis Warlock is already eating in PvP. That's why everybody calls them fun killers, because they ruin the game. The game is less fun when there's a Stasis Warlock around. Light subclass tuning. Let's get into it. We're going to read this. For our light subclasses, Season 21 brings a general tuning pass at a wide variety of abilities, focusing on those that are significantly overperforming and underperforming. Titan. Boys, I've read this before I recorded this, and I cried a lot. But after rereading it, it doesn't seem as bad. With update 3.4.0, we made a shoulder charge ability, Seismic Shield, and Hammer Strike significantly easier to use. Increase their viability as a movement tool at the cost of one ability to one-shot other players without intentionally build crafting. As of 3.0 has rolled out, the shoulder charge abilities are no longer locked to a specific subclass diamonds. It becomes clear that the extreme ability enabled the energy cost of shoulder charge too high. It's become clear that extreme ability enabled by the energy cost of shoulder charge is too high. I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna do a little rant on this. While we're comfortable with players having strong movement capabilities at their disposal, these abilities should have a meaningful trade-off, or their use shouldn't always be on. To that end, we are adding a small melee energy cost for shoulder charge abilities on activation, regardless of whether or not they hit. We realize this is a big shit and we don't want to punish players who use their abilities primarily for offensive, so we're offsetting this change with a decrease in base cooldown. Lord. Seismic Strike, Shield Bash, and Hammer Strike now cost 15% melee energy on activation. Base cooldowns are now standardized to 91 seconds for all of them. Based on your strength stat, the effective cooldown on shoulder charges and movement as a movement tool will be ranging from 17 at 0 strength and 7 seconds at 10 strength, 100 strength, 10 or 100, doesn't matter. You know what I mean. In Season 21, we're also making some adjustments to Knockout, Shield Throw, and Throwing Hammer and Sunspots. Knockout currently offers a large number of easy-to-activate powerful effects, the most prominent of which is the long-duration melee lunge bonus, which has proven extremely difficult to combat as a potential target. To bring the aspect potency closer to in line with that of its peers, we're reducing the melee lunge bonus provided from 2 meters to 1 meter. To offset this change in PvE, we're also increasing the uncharged melee bonus versus PvE combatants from 60 to 100. Lunge, knockout, lunge reducing to 6.5 to 5.5. Uncharged melee PvP bonus to 100%. Okay. For shield throw, we're making a few improvements to usability, primarily against fast-moving targets. Increase impact damage from 60 to 70. Increase consistency, defining, adjusting additional trajectory toward the new target after a bounce. Nice. Throwing hammer now adjust the initial effect, the initial flight trajectory based on your aim to this target. Does anyone really have trouble hitting throwing hammers? I don't know. I mean, that's good. Like I said, above is above. With the launch of Witch Queen last year, we implemented a preemptive tuning changes to reduce the amount of damage Sunspots dealt to players. Sunbreaker's performance is currently trailing the rest of the Titan subclass in Crucible. Yes. So in Season 21, we're walking that change back slightly to make Sunspot safer haven for Sunbreakers and their allies, and better encouraging enemies to keep their distance. Increase damage dealt to Sunspot. I thought we was going to get another freaking Sunbreaker buff, bro. Sunbreakers is so bad in PvE and it's PvP and it's annoying. I want to use my favorite subclass in PvP. Okay, so we're going to talk about this. My own situation is right here. We are comfortable with players having strong movement capabilities at their disposal. These abilities should have a meaningful trade-off for their use and shouldn't be always on. If that is the case, why are Warlocks able to have Icarus Dash on a 5-second cooldown? If that is the case, if you want to have the ability to have good movement at the disposal, but have a good trade-off, why is Icarus Dash on Warlock always on and the cooldown is 2 seconds shorter than this will be? And that cooldown is static. That cooldown is a static 5-second cooldown with no way to lengthen or shorten it. We have to build into our subclass for this to be good. A while ago, when people were complaining, I still don't think this is okay, when they were talking, I forgot who they were talking about, and they said, oh, Twilight Games is not coming back, but we have movement is on the way, and then we got thrust. But before that, they also said shoulder charge, like they just said before, is a movement ability. So if we're considering this as another movement ability, because let's be honest here, Titans don't use shoulder charge to kill any people anymore, because they miss. Most of the time when you shoulder charge somebody, it misses. You'll be looking right at the person and it will miss. So if that is the case, and shoulder charge is supposed to be a movement ability and they want to do a trade-off, why is it okay for Titans to have to build into this to make their cooldown shorter while Warlocks can have this for free? With a 5-second cooldown that comes back every 5 seconds, you can do it in any direction. You can do the shoulder charge too. But that's what I'm saying. Why is it fair for Warlocks to have Icarus Dash, Hunters to be able to fly across the map by skidding their head across the ceiling and everything, but we can't have movement? Why is that fair? That's my only situation. It genuinely seems that Titans are getting the short end of the stick, and everyone's saying, someone commented today on one of my videos that Titans are just easy mode, and I'm like, no, we have like almost nothing. And no, this is not me being like biased towards Titans. But seriously, think about it. What do Titans have? Other than the only thing Titans have right now that is super strong in PvP is Arc. That's it. We can't use nothing else. Literally all we have is Arc. We can't use Strand because Strand is trash. Or Strand Super is trash. Freaking Solar is bad in PvP. You can still use it, but it's bad. We have Arc and Bubble. That's it. 2 supers. And one of those don't even have movement. Well, neither of them have. Well, they have 1 movement. Like I said, my whole situation is, why is it okay for Warlocks to have, Warlocks and Hunters, both of them have ways to get around. Hunters is less of a sell because it's not an ability. They're just using the geometry they map to go faster. Why is it okay for Warlocks to have the ability to move around the map, but Titans can't? That's it. That's all I want to say. I don't want to hear anyone saying that, oh, Titans are bulky, they're supposed to stay on the ground. No, don't want to hear it. For Hunters, we're making a series of target changes to Night Stalker and Gunslinger. It's cool. Increase snare bomb weak duration to 8 seconds. Nice. Proximity explosive knife to reduce from 105 to 90. They basically want to make it so it's lightweight knife is easy. It's supposed to be easier, but it's not as strong. So they nerfed the other 2 and then made lightweight knife a little bit easier. So like I said, it's detonation, impact damage versus players from increased from 14 to 20. Detonation damage versus players reduced from 105 to 90. Weighted knife or mouse and keyboard reduce the minimum tracking shape size by 25% and the maximum tracking shape size by 10%. This shape grows at 0.5 seconds after the projectile is thrown. Lightweight knife, projectile speed increased 30% increased from 30 meters to 40 meters per second. Tracking shape increased by 20%. In addition to being granted an extra fragment slot, we are also significantly reducing the cooldown of Gunpowder Gamble, which currently lives in a too narrow niche for widespread usage. I love Gunpowder Gamble. This is a W. Warlocks. During season 21, we identified a bug. Okay, this is just them talking about the bug. So this is fixed. Fixed an issue preventing the secondary projectile aiming shapes from activating. Total damage versus players reduced from 150 to 135 to compensate the drastically increased consistently. Okay, I guess so. Ball lightning increased the PV damage by 30%. Reduced the ping scaler on both primary and secondary detonations, so combatants are less likely to be knocked out of the secondary strike area. Other players amplified. Chaos accelerant. Scatter grenade. Okay. Oh yeah. Chaos scatter grenade. Chaos accelerant. Scatter grenade increases the tracking consistency of charged scatter grenades and munitions. Increase submunitions arming duration. Fix the bug that has some submunitions were impacting the ground and creation, and yeah, basically that. Fix the So they just fixed it basically. Increase charge hold time from 3.2 to 4.5. So they made it longer so you can. They made the charge time longer so you can hold it for longer and aim it correctly. That's cool. Let's talk about Lightning Surge. We've identified a bug allowing Lightning Surge to effectively one-shot enemies with Crucible. Finally, they're nerfing this. Thank God. Fixed an issue allowing Lightning Surge to deal more instances of secondary strike damage than intended. Now the target can take a maximum of 2 instances of damage from the single activation of the ability. 1 from the primary lightning strike around the player, and then 1 from the secondary lightning strike. This change has necessitated some changes in the damage values, but in general, its damage output should be significantly more consistent and still slightly higher than the intended value previously, but without the ability able to one-shot a single Guardian from full health. Okay? So, for Scorch, they increase the time it takes for Scorch to begin falling off, and then increase the stun time before stacks begin falling off from 3 seconds to 4.5 seconds on PvE. So it's 2.3 on players and 4.5 on PvE and combatants. This is great. That way, whenever I throw my grenade and get an eruption, it'll erupt instead of I was like 2 seconds, like a 0.5 of a second too late and some of the stacks fall off. This is great. Jolt is getting nerfed. Not sad, very sad to see, but do what you got to do, I guess. Reduce PvE damage by 15%. Reduce additional damage scalar versus major combatants from PvE by 20%. Jolt shot is just too good, bro. It was you could tell by far in between that Jolt shot was the best freaking ammo type for classes. So I'm not surprised. With the speed booster, we're making a handful of quality of life improvements. Specifically, we're making this activation time slightly shorter while increasing the linger time after stopping a sprint to make maintaining the active speed booster more achievable in combat. We're also slightly reducing the additional jump acceleration it provides. Thank you for reducing jump information. The jump acceleration, I'm sorry. Speed booster, speed booster. It's too late. Speed booster bonus jump acceleration scalar reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. Now activates while sprinting after 2.5 seconds, down from 3 seconds. Now lingers while players is not sprinting for 2 seconds, up from 1.5. Fix the bug whether if the player was already sprinting and became amplified, speed booster would not be granted. This is great. I've ran into that bug a lot. So overall, the changes are good. Everybody's getting buff. Oprah Winfrey type beat. Look at the thumbnail. That's where I got the thumbnail from. But yeah, overall, this is a great change. These changes are great. My biggest gripe is with the Titan shoulder charge thing. I get it. People are going to say, oh, Titans aren't meant to have high movement. I get that. I get Titans aren't supposed to have the best movement, but we should at least have something when every other class has something. And let's say, well, if you want movement, go play Strand. Strand is trash in PvP. So I guess everyone has to have some upsides and downsides. But my biggest gripe is, why do Warlocks get to have that movement ability with no change, but ours is like lower? And I guess the only thing I understand is that Warlocks only have that ability on one class, while we have it on all classes. So I guess that's it, but still it's a little bit annoying. Anywho, I appreciate all you guys for watching this video. Thank you guys so much for staying with me and chilling out with me while I read this to you today. Let me know what you guys think below about this change in the comments below, and stick by the channel because another video will be going up after this video goes up, okay? Have a good one. Peace.